What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Thursday evening's Anfield Agenda News Roundup. Loads to go through today. We're going to be speaking about a potential raid on Wolves. Who's interested in Sepp van den Berg? We're going to talk about a central defender it looks like Liverpool have missed out on, and a few other bits and pieces, including HUIJSEN, BREMER, and of course a little bit of Anthony Gordon chat. That and lots more over the next 8 to 10 minutes. When you've watched the video, we'd love to know your thoughts, so do let us know in the comment section. Drop a like on the video if you enjoy it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Brand new podcast episode came out today with myself and David Lynch. If you haven't already, please do download and check out the all new Anfield Agenda podcast. You can find it in your favourite podcast platform, whatever that might be. Just search Anfield Agenda and we should be there. Just over 1 week as well till we're in Cardiff and Liverpool for those two live shows, so you can get your tickets for them in the description. Right, look, let's get straight into it. So let's speak Sepp van den Berg for a little minute. I did talk to you guys in this morning's video, no, actually I didn't talk to you about it in this morning's video, because I didn't do a video this morning, because we put out the David Lynch interview, but I did have it in my notes for this morning that Hoffenheim are the latest team to show an interest in signing Liverpool's Sepp van den Berg. That is Hoffenheim. We've seen, obviously, PSV Eindhoven, we've seen Mainz and many others. So I think it's fair to say we're going to see Sepp move on if anybody can get to that €20 million price tag. One defender who I spoke to David Lynch about, and it looks like we've now missed out on, is HUIJSEN. Fabrizio Romano has given the here we go to a deal to take him to Bournemouth. He said, HUIJSEN to Bournemouth, here we go, verbal agreement on an €18 million deal plus sell-on clause for Juventus. Juventus plan to bid for Jean-Claire Todibo as soon as the HUIJSEN deal is signed. So that's another name that we can tick off the potential centre-back list, but that doesn't really give us much help with regards to figuring out who exactly that new Liverpool centre-back will be. Bobby Clark, according to Ian Doyle of the Echo, is saying at Liverpool this season he won't go out on loan. I agree with that. I think Bobby Clark is there or thereabouts. Really good young player, and I think Arne Slot has made a wise decision there to keep him around. So I want to revisit once again a conversation around Kudus from West Ham. Some people still believe there's life to this deal, and I'm not saying that they're wrong, but let's give you an example. Matt Thielen said, West Ham's transfer movement is very telling. I don't believe Liverpool have ended their interest in Kudus. The problem I have with what Matt said and what anybody thinks about Mohamed Kudus is not the quality of the player, and I'm not trying to say that these people are wrong. I hold Matt in the highest of regard, but I do think that it's telling that we allowed the release clause to expire, because that apparently ended in June. So now you'd have to agree a fee with West Ham for the player, and I don't know if West Ham are for selling Kudus unless he's telling the club he wants out. It'd be a difficult one to get West Ham to agree to. They of course have Julian Lopetegui, who came in as the new coach, and they're going to have their eyes set on returning, well, to the top part of the league to make sure they're challenging, hopefully in their case, not from ours, but from their case, for those big European spots. So I don't know how feasible this one is, but I'd love to know your thoughts on it. We all know we like Kudus, but would we really pay £85 million for him? Is he that good? Or will we be talking about a couple of players from Wolves, whom I'll move on to in a moment? Love to know your thoughts though on Kudus, let me know. If it was the release clause and it was still active, I feel like maybe there's more chance of it, but having to go in and negotiate as the window gets closer to ending, West Ham will of course keep their valuation high, hoping Liverpool's desperation gets to a point where we overpay, and we won't. So, a little bit coming out of Italy around Dani Olmo. It seems as if Barcelona have finally made an offer, but it looks as if that offer is going to be rejected. The offer would have valued him at around 50 million, but apparently the terms of that aren't good enough for Leipzig, and Barcelona are going to have a little rethink there around Dani Olmo, or move on and look to other players. So I've mentioned to you guys before about a backup goalkeeper coming in if Kelleher moves on, and I've always spoken about Lunin as the one that Liverpool have likely looked to. The problem there is, I think Lunin would be open to the move, but one of the reasons that he'd want to leave, and when I say open to the move I mean coming to Liverpool, but one of the reasons I don't think it's too feasible is he's already behind Thibaut Courtois, and he's not going to want to move to get behind the other best goalkeeper in the world in Alisson. So I don't know about this one. I'd have no problem with Lunin coming in as a replacement for Kelleher. He certainly has the experience at the highest level. Still the right age bracket at 25, exactly the same as Queeveen. I'd rather keep Creeveen, but again, I always understood that if Creeveen wanted to move on, the club would be respectful of that one. But let me know your thoughts. Would you trade Kelleher for Lunan as an example? Personally, I'd rather stick with what we have. So, BREMER, we're going to talk about him for a minute because these links have reappeared once again. Look, this is what worries me. Juventus are moving on centre-backs to bring in other centre-backs. So why would we all of a sudden want to come in and buy Juventus as centre-backs if they're not good enough for Juventus? That's where this kind of worries me. This one said that Liverpool are linked to a £50 million Gleisen BREMER deal. I don't know if that's true. We've had links to this guy going back a couple of years. I think before he moved to Juventus, if my memory's right, he was playing in the Bundesliga. Or no, he was playing for Torino, I think it was. And we never made that move. So why would we do it now when his price tag has gone up again? It just feels like a lazy link to me, trying to link us to a Juventus player to maybe get some interest for a player that they're willing to move on. Now, I have saved the best for last. The reason you probably clicked on today's video is that double Wolves raid. Well, Liverpool are reportedly planning a raid on Wolves for 2 players. One of them won't come as a surprise to you, I don't think. The other one, probably not a surprise, but not somebody who's been mentioned a lot lately. So firstly, defensively, I'm talking about ENQUIRIES. Of course, we know he has a £38 million release clause, and Liverpool have been linked with him right throughout this window. The second one, though, the second one is Pedro Neto, who this outlet have said Liverpool are interested in signing along with ENQUIRIES. I don't know where I stand on it. There's no number mentioned in this, so I haven't got a clue what we'd be looking at to bring in Pedro Neto as an example. When we looked at this and when we were linked with him last year, the numbers were very, very high that Wolves would demand for Pedro Neto. I don't know if there is a release clause in there that isn't public knowledge or not. Truly, I don't know. I know about the one for ENQUIRIES at 38 million, but other than that, I'm kind of sailing in the dark here. So, Pedro Neto, what would you think if Liverpool were to sign him would be a fair price? For me, I've always liked the player. I've always been very concerned about how many injuries he's had at such a young player, and that would be the biggest concern I'd have now, because Mohamed Salah has been fairly robust over the years at Liverpool. Only last year he started to pick up some injuries, but other than that, he's been fairly bulletproof and available for selection. To replace him with the likes of a Pedro Neto, if he doesn't have injuries, I'd have no issues. But again, it would feel like a roll of the dice from Liverpool, an unnecessary risk in a position that there are many, many options out there. So I'm unsure. What would I pay? Probably 50 to 60 max for Pedro Neto, because he is a good footballer, and as I said before, he's got that fire in his belly that I think would work really well in our system. But it's just that injury concern that really does worry me. So my friends, that is it. I'm off to record with our friend from Japan, Mr. Liverpool fan in Japan side. Do check out his channel. I'll be back tonight at 8:45 for the late night agenda, where of course we'll be going through this and all of the latest transfer stories in more detail, as well as looking ahead to tomorrow night's game over in the US of A. Our first one against Real Betis. We'll get a proper look at Arne Slot and the boys, and I can't wait. Until then, don't forget to let us know your thoughts on this video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so, and don't forget to check out the latest podcast. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.